So I originally titled this Resident Issues, and after thinking about it, it just didn't sit right with me. I felt like um, what we're talking about is more of a challenge than it is an issue. And I think I came about that because we're talking about people's lives, and that means a lot to me. And I think there's such a human element to what we do. And so I really dislike the term resident and I really dislike the term issues. And so I renamed it to grandparent challenges because that's really what they are. They're more of, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a game, but it's kind of when you get a new individual moving into your home, a new grandparent, they come with a lot of trauma. They come with a lot of maybe certain things that can trigger them. They may have come from two or three different other facilities, and they come with a lot of fear and a lot of pain. And so I think that it's our challenge at Platinum to take in this individual and to create an environment where they can really thrive and really live like their last days full of life. That's really what it's about at Platinum. And so it's a challenge for us to take on these different individuals who have, different circumstances and different personalities and be able to create, maybe with medications and with their family input and with their doctor input, create some sort of plan to really get them to thrive. And so that's why I'm calling it challenges. And it really is a challenge that you take on when someone new moves into your home. And so I think seeing it that way is more of a positive way to look at it. And so that's why I renamed it to Grandparent Challenges. And so I hope that we can deep dive into some of these challenges that you will face. I won't be able to cover every challenge that you will face because there will be lots of challenges as far as, your grandparents moving in. But I wanted to cover the top like 4 to 5 challenges that you will encounter as you have people moving into your home. And so here we go. I'm going to start off by talking about trust and adjustment. I think this is really important to discuss because yes, there's going to be challenges, but I think that knowing and acknowledging that there's a huge adjustment going on with this person and with their family, and that the trust really is the backing on that too. It takes time. I want you to understand that. I mean, if you put yourself in the shoes of a family member, maybe you've placed your mom in 2 or 3 facilities beforehand and got like the worst care. You were lied to by the director. Maybe the director was changing every like 3 to 4 months, and so you didn't know who was in charge. Their care staff was changing every 2 to 3 months, and you didn't know if your loved one was being taken care of. Okay, so you take that circumstance and then you put them into your home. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen within that first, month or 2 months? It's going to be a lot of mistrust. It's going to be a lot of doubt. It's going to be a lot of fear. And so I think acknowledging that beforehand and knowing that you have a lot of individuals and families that come with pain is really important to acknowledge because it's easy for you to see it on your end, like, hey, you're moving in and you're going to get the best care, you're going to get the best food. We have the awesome managers who are solid here, who stay here, who love the job here. We have care staff that have worked here for years. You know that. And so you're confident in the care that you're going to provide, but they don't know that yet. And so it takes time. And so understanding that the adjustment can take a while, it can take months, I think is important to know because I didn't know that coming in. I was like, hey, like we have the best care, we have the beautiful home, we have all this stuff. Why don't you believe it? Don't you see it? So um just take note on that when you do get new families that maybe aren't trusting you to what you're saying, to your word. Just know that it takes time. They have to see that you are backing up your words with action. Because a lot of times in facilities before, they would, they fluffify things and they kind of create a world that's not really happening inside of their facility. And so they need to see that you're actually doing what you're saying. And again, that just takes time. So I think a majority of that is families, what I just discussed. But also you need that trust with that grandparent that moves in. And so there will be instances where you'll have some behaviors that'll come up. And a lot of that is because, yes, they do have dementia and Alzheimer's, but they also are gaining the trust of you. And so again, teaching your staff that, it takes time, it's okay. Like, oh, I just went in and I met the new grandparent and she just didn't seem like she liked me very much. She wasn't very friendly. It's because they're scared. It's a scary thing to move into a new environment. And think of yourself when you move into a new home. I mean, the first couple nights are always kind of a little different, right? It's a new environment. You hear like those like cracks in the floor on the wall, and like you wake up and you're like, what was that? And like there's different circumstances when you're in a new environment that's scary. And so you've experienced it personally, but they experience it to like the 100th degree because not only are they experiencing a new environment, but they're mentally not fully aware of what's going on. And so that adds a whole different element of fear to the equation. And so I just wanted to make you aware of these things because sometimes we do forget. And so I even have to remind myself sometimes when someone new moves in and maybe the family just doesn't seem to want to trust us. And I have to remind myself like they've been through a traumatic event and in their mind is telling them that's going to happen again. And so you have to almost break that cycle for the families mentally, letting them know that it's not going to happen again, that this is a completely different circumstance in a completely different environment. And so, again, gaining that trust just takes time. Another thing that I wanted to mention was cultivating a culture of trust. And I think that's such a difficult thing to really cultivate within your staff. But again, like I've said before, and I will always say, everything comes from the top. So it starts with you as the owner. And so I think you as the owner being an honest and trustworthy individual who has integrity that trickles down to your management staff. And then you hold that standard for your management staff. And that management staff is then going to hold that standard for your care staff, for your chef, for anyone who comes in your home, right? The hospice, the home health, the salon individual, the podiatrist, everybody that comes in is held to that same standard. And if they don't meet that standard, it is known that they will not belong on our team anymore. And so it's one of those things where you're slow to hire, quick to fire. That's definitely something that we do. And it's important to cultivate that within your staff and also create that environment to where they know if that person isn't fitting the culture of the home, the team kind of knows that like, hey, maybe this isn't a good fit for that individual. And so it is okay to fire individuals that don't fit that culture that you are trying to create within your home. It's very, very important that that is held as a standard within your home.